Aries, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation by Born Without Boundaries. In these weekly videos, I review the major planetary aspects and transits, and I let you know how they're going to be aspecting your natal suns, and so what that means for your bottom line. All you need to know to understand these videos is your birth date. That's it. Everything else I will translate for you. And yes, guys, I do personal readings and chart analysis. If you're interested, go to www.bornwithoutboundariestarot.com to sign up for a personal reading. This reading is going to be way more specific than normal horoscopes because normal horoscopes are completely inaccurate. This really just determines what is impacting your natal sun. Now, how do I know where your natal sun is located? Well, I don't know. I don't know what your birthday is. You know what your birthday is. And I will give you ranges of birth dates that let you know what decan your natal sun falls into. A decan is a group of 10 degrees. And based on your birthdays, I can estimate about which decan your natal sun is in. And that will tell me how all the other planets are aspecting your natal sun. Then I'll know what you can expect for this week. So I'm going to start off really broad, Aries, with the big stuff, the stuff that's impacting everybody, the charts for this week. And then I'm going to focus that down into Aries specific information. And then I'm going to break everything down into the 3 decans of Aries. So sorry about that cord. The big stuff. This is for the week of August 31st through September 6th. Happy birthday, Christine Bertrand. She's one of my best friends, and it is her birthday. That's it. We had the full moon yesterday, and I hope it was so beautiful for you. The moon was just absolutely gorgeous. It's been absolutely gorgeous all week long, so I just hope it was a magical time for you. It was certainly a powerful time, and this week we're going to be feeling a relief at this point. Why do I say that? Because by the by the 1st of September, which is not rabbit, don't forget to say it. By the 1st of September, Mars ends its opposition to Neptune. That was dragging us down and making us waste energy and punch at shadows, and they could be very irritating and distracting energy. Why else do I say this? Because on the 1st, or also around the 1st, the sun is going to end its opposition to Saturn. Now that was really oppressive energy, and I think that full moon helped us release a lot of bitterness and a lot of anger and a lot of pressures that either we were getting from the outside or we were putting on ourselves that just were not realistic or making us feel good. So there's a huge 2 big things that were really troublesome and making us feel really oppressed and pushed down. They're dissipating this week. We also have Uranus Uranus went into retrograde on the 29th. But Jupiter's heading into retrograde on the 3rd. Venus is heading out of retrograde on the 4th, but it's still going to be in shadow. Jupiter and Uranus, both in Taurus, going into retrograde, are really going to slow down and make us more introspective when it comes to the way that we value things and what we really want to spend our time on, or what we want to learn about. Maybe even reevaluating our finances in general, or whatever we've set in stone and gotten into a routine. Is it really working for us? So things are slowing down to help us figure stuff out underneath the surface, right behind the scenes. And that's really important. This is not a push forward kind of energy. I wouldn't look to that until October 4th, October 15th. Like Venus, even Venus coming direct on the 4th of this week, she's still going to take some time to get back her momentum. So we won't really be feeling that until mid-September, maybe into October. And then Mercury retrograde doesn't stop. Mercury doesn't come out of retrograde until about September 15th, around that new moon that's coming around that time. So we're going to really, between now and then, need to just relax into observing. observation. This is very observational energy. Now, there's a lot of optimism here. We have Jupiter trying to Mercury, which is in retrograde. And by the 3rd, Jupiter is also going to be trying to the sun, because Mercury and the sun are going to be conjunct to each other. That's very optimistic energy in a sense of, I want to expand and broaden my mind by looking inward and understanding things more clearly. Maybe I missed something. This could also be information where we finally go, aha, I finally discovered something. I finally realized something. Now I get it. And Jupiter is going to be square to Venus all week long still, which means that there is some sort of objectivity that's coming to where we've overindulged, where we didn't need to, where we've been excessive and we shouldn't have been. But the beautiful thing about this is nothing is set in stone. You can absolutely change those behaviors that are dragging you back. And the momentum will start to build. And then by the beginning of October, you will really start to feel a lovely flow coming back online. So, guys, let's get into one more thing I wanted. Oh, on the 4th. On the 4th, I saw something very interesting. So on the 4th, which is the day that Venus goes direct, the moon conjuncts Jupiter and Uranus both. Kind of like for a few hours, it's conjuncting them both, kind of combining that energy between the two by sort of putting a reflection onto both of them now in retrograde. As this energy trines the sun, conjunct Mercury retrograde. This could be a day of major revelations about a personal truth or information that had otherwise been elusive to you, whether it was intentionally hidden or you just brain fogged. Whatever it is, this is quite a beautiful day of sort of reckoning and resolution, as well as understanding, like a real discovery that could help you out quite a bit. So this is an aha moment that I really like. Let's go into Aries specific energy. So what do I look at to get that? Well, I look what's going on in Aries, right? So what's going on in Aries, and then I'll look at what's going on with your ruling dignitary, which is Mars. So in Aries, Chiron is 19 degrees Chiron. Okay. It's staying there. That means it's conjunct the natal suns of especially those of you born between the 9th and the 12th of April. What does that mean? It means that you are hard pressed to not play the hero. You are supercharged into making sure that nobody else suffers the way that you had to suffer, or to make sense of and make opportunity from shitty experiences that you've had in your life, or lessons learned the hard way that you now know what to do with and help other people out with. So that could be overwhelming energy for you for the next year. Let's look at, and the North Node. The North Node is at 25 degrees Aries all week long. That means it's conjunct to those of you born toward the end of Aries season. And that means that you are 100% accepting your own personal responsibility and authority over your own life, and having conscious interactions with everything that you do. Even if it is challenging, it's something that you're taking on. It's like, I am becoming a more developed version of myself. And that's over the next couple of months that you guys will be impacted by that energy. What's going on with Mars? Okay, well, what's going on with Mars? Mars is in Libra, it's in detriment. So all of you guys will be feeling that maybe you're not as energized, but I gotta say, Mars is still the only planet moving direct. It's the only planet that's not either in shadow or retrograde. So it's doing what it does in Libra. And what does it do? It equalizes things. It looks for balance in things. And that takes a whole heck of a lot more time than when, say, Mars is in Aries. It is more reflective. It is more fair. And it is more determined to even things out than to get ahead. So, especially with partnerships, you could be giving a lot of energy and focus into being a good partner, or making sure that there's equity in whatever partnerships you have. So not an unproductive energy, but definitely definitely more vulnerable for Mars. So it's not as virile as it usually is. We have Mars in opposition to Neptune, but only through the 1st, and then it's done. So this distraction, these angers, these frustrating distractions will just kind of go poof. You will not be feeling that energy as much anymore. And then Mars is also quincunx to Saturn, which means there's still some anger, or not, there's still some irritation, like a thorn in the side when it comes to laws, rules, regulations, expectations, or even contracts that you've signed. But with Mars in Libra, this could really take on a whole new impact, as in, okay, well, let me see what's going on. Let me see what's wrong. And let me take action if in fact any of this stuff is fair, or let me admit if maybe I haven't been doing my part. That's where Mars kind of equalizes now. And then we also have a Sesa square to Uranus, which is in retrograde now by the 5th. So toward the end of this week. Now, what does that mean? It means that there's just either blocks or frustration around being unique, or being seen as unique, or being able to make moves as an individual. And that could be because of your partnership. So you could feel some irritation there if you start to feel like your individuality chipped away at, because, oh, now I feel like I've got to ask somebody, which could reveal some issues that you have to work through. Let's go into the decans, shall we? Aries, if you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Aries, you are an Aries 1. This correlates to Aries birthdays in March. So any Aries born basically March 22nd through the 31st, I'm sorry guys, I apologize, or through April 1st, that would be you guys. Decan, your natal suns would be in the first decan of Aries. Your natal suns are in opposition to Mars. Now, that is not going to remain for a long time, but it will remain for the next week or so. What does that mean? That you're more impulsive, and because Mars in the beginning of the week is also in opposition to Neptune, you could be jumping at straws, like jumping at shadows and making a mountain out of a molehill. So essentially, it's important for you to regulate your impulsivity, especially since when there is an opposition to Mars between your natal sun and Mars, there is more likelihood of risk of injury, because you're more impulsive and not thinking as much. So you don't want to get injured and be doing it for nothing, right? So just back off that a little bit and try to count to 10 before you take any action. It could make you a little bit more frustrated and angry as well. So breathing work and grounding is highly recommended for next week. If you are on the cusp, so the cusp between Aries and Pisces, so that would be if you're born, say, March 22nd, 23rd. Your natal suns are conjunct to Neptune still, and they are sextile to Pluto. This is a very revolutionary energy because it just makes you optimistic when it comes to facing the hardship, getting through it, and being creative and coming up with something brand new, including a new version of yourself to deal with things better. So you'll start seeing that you're impacting and influencing people with your own desires to change who you are. That's over the next couple of years. Okay, Aries 2. If you know that your natal suns are between, 10 and 19 degrees Aries, you are Aries 2. So this correlates to birthdays, I would say, between April 2nd and April 11th. Your natal suns are the ones, especially if you're born 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Your natal suns are conjunct to Chiron. So there is this sort of hero energy to you about, I am healing wounds from the past and I'm making sure other people get treated right. I'm making sure I do it all right this time. We have a trine to Venus this week, and as she comes, out of retrograde, it's almost like making things better, being more optimistic and feeling better about who you are. This could even mean healing in your personal like physiology, your physical self, and fixing yourself so that you feel like you look better and you feel better and you just feel more beautiful. Sort of a tranquility when it comes to personal value. This could also mean balancing out the checkbook and finally being able to fix some financial stuff that's been going on. We have a quincunx to Mercury and a quincunx to the Sun, which means sort of something is irritating you. It's gonna, since Mercury in retrograde, it could really irritate the crap out of you. And because it's also quincunx the Sun, it might be making you look bad in terms of performance or what you know or don't know. Or you're going to be super inspired to get ahead of the game and try to get ahead of the game, but you will still be frustrated when it comes to that Mercury retrograde energy. It could really, really irritate the crap out of you and be a thorn in your side all week long. Just an FYI. Your natal suns are also semi-square to Saturn. Now that's all year long. And what does that mean? Well, it means that you, especially those of you who are conjunct Chiron, those of you born around the 9th, 10th, or 11th, you have this underlying feeling of I will never be good enough and nothing's ever good enough. And that is not true. It's just something you're going to have to struggle with right now and show yourself that you are deserving and you are worthy. But you will find that you have to work really hard or even harder to sort of prove that to yourself, or feel that you have to work extra hard to prove it to others. That is for the next year or so, just an FYI. So Aries 3, if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Aries, you are in Aries 3. That usually correlates to birthdays between, say, the 12th and the 22nd of April. Your natal suns are conjunct the North Node and opposite the South Node. So you're done with the past and with flip-flopping around and just traveling where the wind goes. You want to take action and authority over your own life. And you may find that you don't even like the things that you used to like, that the things that you used to not like are starting to taste different to you now. They're starting to appeal more, if only because they're different, but also because it's like you're changing, you're developing, you're changing. And that will go on for the next couple of months. For all year long, your natal suns are sextile to Saturn. This is excellent opportunity when it comes to work, when it comes to building out your, starting that, laying that foundation for what you're building out into the world. Also, a sense of authority figures are really going to like you and be more favorable to you. The rules are going to be more favorable to you. This is a really nice time for you over the next year to really work hard and have that get you somewhere. How was the full moon? I wanted to ask you guys, because you were also sextile. Your natal suns were sextile to the full moon, and that could offer you some beautiful energy and opportunity for release, as well as readjustment to your understanding of who you are and why you're valuable. And then we have a square to Pluto, which is for the next couple of years. That just makes you, because your natal sun is conjunct Pluto, it makes you more formidable and it makes you more intimidating. And it could also make you could find yourself snapping at people more and being a lot less tolerant. And so just take note of that, because people will feel that about you because it's Pluto. People will feel that about you before you even walk into the room. And I'll tell you this right now, they'll decide that they won't like you, and that will cut off opportunities for you, even though that's not all that you are. It's really going to be seen. Like, it's like the sun in a square to Pluto shines light on those parts of yourself that could get real crazy, that could go to extremes. And that intimidation could work in some ways, but listen, if it more than often works against you. So just be aware of it a little bit more, of how you're impacting other people. You'll see it. You'll see it. And, once again, grounding yourself, self-care, and anything that will help you establish more patience and more understanding. Not just an understanding, it's more patience. Patience is a really good remedy to this challenging square. And it will really help you use that energy to be relentless when it comes to pursuing what you believe in, but don't be ruthless when it comes to like stepping on people or walking over them or intimidating the shit out of them so that you're losing friends along the way. Just an FYI. So you let me know, Aries, how all of this is impacting you and how you're feeling it's impacting your life this week. If you love this video, be sure to like it and share it so that other people can find it and enjoy it too. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel either so you can help Astrology Motivation grow. We're almost at 11,000 and I'm so psyched because if you remember way back in the beginning of the summer, I asked, maybe we can make it to, 10,000 and we're already almost at 11. So I'm so grateful for how much you've contributed. Now come on over and enjoy your week ahead tarot card reading from Born Without Boundaries Tarot. I'll see you guys there. Bye.